Okay, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, rahmatika arhamar rahimin. So, inshallah, we begin again. We begin in the name of Allah, and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allowed me and you to be alive another day and to be in worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making Him the sole purpose of our life. Now, I actually want to go very quickly. I want to actually speak about what's really been happening in Leicester. You probably are aware of the hypocrisy which is actually taking place over there. And a lot of media, people are looking for excuses to blame the Muslims for what they've not done. And unfortunately, that's how the world's always trying to find a blame, trying to find a problem in Muslims. And also, it's not that they don't know; they actually do know, and even then they tend to act in a way, or react in a way, and put the entire blame on the Muslims, or which I find quite fascinating. Now, I actually want to very quickly give some pointers, inshallah, for what's really happened. First of all, I actually want to talk about Hindufta. So while I'm doing that, give me 1 second. I'm um, trying to connect this computer. Technology can be very difficult at times, as it's been for me today. I might just give up on Facebook, and I'm actually not going to load it there. So I'm just going to go for the YouTube. Okay, now what's Hindutva? Now, actually not Hindutva, it's Hindutva. So Hindutva, it's a difficult concept, but really important. Now, talking about complex political, historical, religious issue may seem intimidating in a way, especially for those of us who have grown up, overseas. Well, but nevertheless, we want to break it down. Is Hindutva simply Hinduness? Not really. Hindutva also is called the Hindu nationalism, and it's the right wing political ideology that guides the current ruling party, BJP, under the prime ministership of Narendra Modi. Now, according to Hindutva, that it's a way of life, and there's many flaws in there. Now, this terminology was first mentioned by V.D. Savarkar, and he actually wrote a book called Hindutva. It articulates this criteria of Indian identity based on citizenship, common ancestry, common culture, regard for India as a fatherland, uh, and secret land as well. So for Savarkar, Christian and Muslims could never be true Indians despite the presence of both religion in India for centuries. That's what he said. Now, also Hindu nationalist group in India, like the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, which is the RSS, were inspired not by Hindu teachings, but they were actually inspired by the Nazi Germany and Mussolini fascist in Italy. So this is a quite daunting task to break down. But now, uh, one of the things they say about Hindutva, that it violates the core values of Hindu scripture, which are iktawa, oneness, and ahimsa, or non-violence. So Hindutva actually promotes division and exploitation on basis of religion, and also in countries where one-fifth of the population is not Hindu. Hindutva advocates to argue that India should be a country that privileges Hindus and openly incite violence against the minorities, particularly Muslim Christians, and unfortunately, Christians being at the forefront. Now, a lot of you probably may not know this. Hindutva is really common in many aspects of the Indian life as well. When there's a movie that came out for Kashmir, and Anupam Kher openly said, was racist towards the Muslims, and this has always been the case. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched the Indian movie; it's always the Muslim terrorist, and he's coming out, and then there's one guy who goes around and it kills the entire population. So it's quite fascinating. Also, a few years ago, if you remember Narendra Modi when he went overseas, the rally that was organized for him and Donald Trump was by the political activists of Hindutva, and this was actually done in Texas. Now, this is something one of the most difficult times that we're seeing. It's never a case in UK. Now, there are many bigots. Now, I actually want to call out a bigot that you probably don't know of, these are like crazy people which are out there, and they want to become. They actually are so crazy that they think whatever they say, we are going to believe on that, and they're trying to incite hatred amongst the Muslims, and and not just the Muslims, and is bringing the bad name to the Muslims. And this is none other than we've got a crazy person. He's a rejecter of religion, and he recently had a talk with Mahsa Amini, the guy from Iran, and they spoke about Hindutva. Um, he is such a bigot. This guy, it's just crazy. Even what he says doesn't make sense. I should want you to listen to some of his sayings just very quickly. He just blames everything on Muslims. Unfortunately, he hated the religion so much that he's confused now, and he doesn't even make sense a lot of times that he speaks. And he's a tryhard who tries to bring Islam down, and in the process, he only brings himself down and humiliates himself. Now, I have got a little thing about him where he I want you to actually listen to what he says. So I'll take it over to on the other side, and I want you to carefully listen to what he's saying. Is Haris Sultan. You can actually look him up. So he is Murtad, as a denier of faith and all kinds of faith. And he's openly saying that the Hindus are peace loving people, and it doesn't understand that these peace loving people are lynching Muslims on a daily basis in the name of their own religion in India, where United Nations have also spoken about the atrocities towards these minorities by these bigots. So have a listen to this. There is this thing going on in Leicester. There was a march by the Hindu mobs. So they were chanting outside the mosque and provoking the Muslims, intimidating them, and hardly any police was there. So very interesting. And this is right outside the central mosque in Leicester. Now, also understand, I want to actually give you some figures out here. Now, Leicester is got a population of around 329,000 people. Out of those 329,000 people, 15.2% and over are Hindus. And on the other hand, in England, the entire England, the Hindu population is only 1.5%, whereas the Muslim population is 5%, which is a quite large number. Now, the Muslim population in Leicester is not as compared to some other places where it's really high. So this was one of the things that it is said. And these people have been crying wolf because of the cricket match, but they don't know it was not really a cricket game. is actually the people have been inciting hatred, and that cricket game was just the icing on the cake, which really led to what happened over there. And also the bigotry we saw from the police as well, not answering calls, and there was some information that went out. I actually want to read some of the tweets that were shared. And this Haris Sultan, as I said, the tryhard, really doesn't know what to say, and hasn't lived in the UK, probably have never been there as well, and tries to act up and say that he probably knows more. Doesn't even know what the city is like. Even the person that I don't agree with, Mufti Abu Layth, he actually made a video very recently speaking about the bigotry of the Hindus over there and what they've been promoting. So it's quite interesting. Even well, it's easy for even other people, the bigots, to actually speak the truth. But people like Mr. Sultan, they can't even see the truth, and they're far away from the truth. So yeah, it's just very interesting. Now, basically, that was it. These Dutwat thugs marched through the streets of Leicester with weapons, including knives. They had six police officers trying to control 200 plus of them at one point. What a shamble. Considering the tension between so high, why won't they search? They stabbed a lot of Muslims tonight. So this is Margaret Freeman is actually saying there's a lot of videos there. Look, I don't have the time to really go through these videos, but as I said, it's the bigotry. Where's the media now? If it was unfortunately, I tell you what, if it was by any chance, these guys, if the Muslims came out and did something like that, it'd be on every media channel. Now, I actually want you to listen to Haris Sultan, this bigot. So let's have a listen to what he has to say. And play this video. And look how stupid this is. How stupid. Absolutely stupid. Listen to this. Dashing around, long live run. Are they allowed to do that? Pause it, pause it. So she goes, she goes, this woman is so silly. I get it. But that just shows you the obnoxiousness of these people. So first of all, this guy, obviously it's a Muslim couple. So they're saying, so they're driving through this crowd and they're saying, oh, look at this, they're chanting Jashri Ram, glory to the Rama. And she says to this guy, her husband or boyfriend, I don't know who that is, probably her husband, could be brother, who the name is Lester Riots. But she's saying that, oh, they're chanting Jashri Ram. You know how we chant Allahu Akbar? Are they allowed to do that? Are they allowed to do that? You're allowed to chant Allahu Akbar, so why would they not be allowed to chant Jashri Ram? And this is a Hindu narrative argument. Hindus, again, you might have heard of this before. Why would she? I don't understand. Why would she think that they're not allowed to say Jai Shri Ram? Is it because her mindset of like back when like is it so unbelievable that somebody could just openly say Jai Shri Ram to them? Yes, like yes, yes. I mean, this is exactly what they're saying because Muslims have. She sounds like somebody that grew up there. Like she doesn't. Gang or Buddhism gang. Only Muslims do this, so think think that this is all there is. Because we have a one true religion. I don't know. Now I'm stretching. I'm touching the stores now. But again, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Are they allowed to do that? Like, why would they not be? Like, you're in the UK. What law would prevent them from saying Jai Shri Ram? Because Allahu Akbar is the one true chant. I mean, I know, but she doesn't. I mean, she's not delusional enough to think like Allahu Akbar is allowed because the UK allows Allahu Akbar because it's the one true religion. This is what I'm saying. These guys are not Harvard graduates. These guys are not some scholars, man. This is exact. Well, Haris Sultan, you tell me that you're saying these guys are not Harvard graduate. I ask you, did you go to school? You sound like you're really struggling to even speak English. So unfortunately, such bigots, thanks to the advent of YouTube, people like Hari Sultan, who don't even know what they stand for. They do know that what they fall for, and I tell you what, they fall for everything. So that's a very unfortunate thing. Now, in this same video, the guy actually tries to correct him, saying she didn't say, "Are they allowed to do this?" She's more worried about, and she's saying, "Are they allowed to do the way they were walking around in the street and provoking the Muslim community over there? Are they allowed to do that?" And that's what she was trying to say. Because unfortunately, Mr. Haris Sultan's IQ levels are zero, and he doesn't understand what really is allowed and what really is not allowed. And this is why we've got people like Haris Sultan who are only a demise of their own self rather than causing destruction to anyone. So let me just take you there. Let me just listen. I want you guys to listen to that part where the guy actually argues with him, and he kind of says, "He's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you that." He's not sure himself. So yeah, you don't hear what they're saying. You know how we their love they've got their own chant. They've got their own chant. What are they allowed to do? There you go. No. Those no. Are two separate thoughts. No, those are two separate thoughts. Okay. 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 She's asking whether they're allowed to protest like this, like public. So, okay. 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 Let's just go by that. That makes more sense. She would. No. No, it doesn't. She would still remain one of the contender for the most stupidest person because does she really? She would still stay as a contender for most stupidest person. I'll say, you know what? She was the contender, but you actually won the prize, Harvest Sultan, and come and collect your prize from me. Seriously, um, the man, the guy, he actually supposedly got on the TV channel of his own TV channel, and he wanted to prove that how great or how bad the Muslims are. Even the guy's telling him, you know what, that's two separate thoughts there. Is how are they allowed to protest in the way they are? So I don't know if you've actually seen this video. I actually would encourage you to actually go and see this video, and you can actually make out yourself. Now, also, as you know, unfortunately, you've got the Indian media. Now, the Indian media is crazy. They're on the other level. Now, this is one bigot. I don't know who he's paid by. Now, you've got the Indian media, which are also crying wolf, and they don't even know, they don't even know when they've been crying wolf and making it sound like these Muslims are blood hungry and they're coming out to get you. And it's just crazy stuff. So, and then you've got that rabbit, Arnab Rabbit Goswami. They've got these crazy people out there, and they just think. See, I tell you what, the Indian narrative, the media's most crazy media I've ever seen in the world. No backing, no investigation, no evidence. They just go out on a rampage, blame the Muslims for everything, and that's what they do. Even in India, the RSS killing and lynching and atrocities on minorities. They always have a way to prove it, or they're not Indian enough, or they're the traitors, and they justify that. The Indian craziness has come to a level where I saw a cameraman will jump in on the face of a dead man. How crazy or how stooped down you had to be doing that to a dead body. The man, for God's sake, has died. What are you trying to prove? That how lowly you are on the face of the earth. So, unfortunately, these people think that they will shout wolf, and they will keep on doing that from their media channels in all kinds of languages to really make the world think who they are. I think the world actually realizes who this media is and how bad this media is. I actually want to, for you guys to actually listen to something else. Now, they've got this eyewitness, supposedly the eyewitness on India Today, and that's 3 days ago. So the eyewitness is Dishita Solanki. narrates what led to the violence against the Hindus in East Leicester, and that's what's where it's happening. Where the East Leicester is a place where the Hindu majority is, where Muslims are very, very. It's a minority up there. Well, that's where you go. If you cry wolf so many times, even everyone's going to believe you. So that's the narrative over there. So she is now getting a lot of airtime. She's getting herself on the news channel. She's been promoted, and well, she's become famous now. That's what people want. So it doesn't matter if you speak the truth. India Times is basically a Daily Telegraph or the Sun or a Daily Mail of the UK one. So it's kind of like it's just crazy stuff that's happening up there. So she's actually been on many other channels as well. It's not just the India Times. So you've got another one, and understand these right wing fascist terrorists who are terrorizing the Muslims and the minorities in India, and they will keep on doing that. And you know what? I'm not an apologetic person. I'm not going to be apologizing for anything, and I'm not someone who is a passive man as well. I like to speak out about what's happening to our brothers and to all the people. I mean, these are the countries, the UK, Australia, all these Western countries. They've actually given us refuge so that we can be in these countries and we can follow the rules and we can make a living. While these people come and they trigger violence against and they provoke, they incite people. Whenever it's heard on the UK soil that Muslims have been in a trouble like that, all of a sudden they use this cricket game in order to justify what's happening out there and to really blame that this has been happening for 2 months. I'm just I'm kind of like bamboozled by the claims that they've made. Well, let's look at one more video, and then I'll just give my closing remarks, inshallah.
certain individuals have come into the city bringing in an extremist ideology or the Hindutva ideology, which to a certain degree has caused problems. People being caught urinating outside mosques, young children being beat up, being asked, are you Muslim or Hindu? Now, the community took action. I may not agree with some of the action that they took, but ultimately, there's been a complete erosion of that harmony in the city of Leicester, which Sunny and you're doing the same thing by blaming members of the Hindu I'm not blaming any member here. What I'm trying to outline the fact is that Leicester has always had this situation where communities have always engaged with each other. But recently, a new community has come. Now, our job is to educate them and make them understand that what's taking place on the streets of India should not take place in the streets of the United Kingdom. Okay. That people should.
What a great statement he's made. He said, "What takes place on the streets of India should not take place on the streets of the streets of UK." So that's such a great statement. I mean, if people are listening, don't think that this is your India where you're gonna get away with the murder of the people, of the minorities, particularly the Muslims. You know, you've had these crazy ideologies. Now, my cry out to the brothers, to the younger brothers back home in UK. I actually want to tell you guys, look, whatever people do, we don't let our guard down. We're Muslims. We are people with high standards. We're not someone that will go out and I will not be shying away from saying what is the truth. So we are not people that will condone any sort of violence. Islam does not condone any sort of violence. Understand, you young brothers. I've always been someone who's against the protests, and I say this: these guys just justify their own appetite. They go in the streets and they think they've justified and they've stood for the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But understand, brothers, you're not stood up for any religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It only brought shame to your own religion, to your prophet by doing these acts. Now, two wrongs do not make a right. Yes, the Hindutva, whatever they did, is wrong, and we condemn that, and we say that to the authorities that you have not taken any action. Where is the justice now? We ask for that justice, but at the same time, we don't lose our guard down. We don't go and use a wrong to make or to justify what's happening. So we don't do that. We are people that are followers of this religion of Islam. Now, brothers, many things I can quote, but I actually want to take you to one of the amazing ayahs in Surah Al-An'am, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَسُبُّ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, that, and do not insult those they invoke other than Allah. فَيَسُبُّ اللَّهِ عَدُوًا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ, that they will start insulting Allah and animosity without knowledge. So basically, you need to actually understand, and كذلك زينا لكل أمة عملهم, that we have made pleasing to every community their deed. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them. ثم إلى ربهم مرجعهم فينبئهم بما كانوا يعملون, that then to their Lord is their return, and He will inform them about what they used to do. So, brothers, understand. Also there's another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he clearly said, don't insult your father. Now, تسبوا آباءكم. The people said, Ya Rasulullah, how do we insult our father? He said, how you insult your father? By actually insulting someone else's father. So, brothers, what's happened out there, understand, yes, we are people that will use the authority, we'll use the media, we'll use our voices, we will go out, we will educate the community, but we're not going to take the law in our hands. And that's what we don't do. We don't go and we don't burn down the temples. We are not the people that will go and hurt the worshippers from other religion. We are not those people. We are there to protect the humanity. One of the things Islam came, one of those qawaid when it comes to the Sharia. Yes, our religion, we protect the religion, but also one of the things that we do, we protect life. We don't take innocent life. We don't go and hurt people. So my young brothers out there who love to protest, you go out and you flex your muscles and you bring so much shame after you've done, after you've rested, you're sitting down, you're smoking your shisha, and you say, you brag on, well, what great things you've done. That's not Islam, brothers. You really want to follow true Islam, you want to look at the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't pick and choose what you like and what you don't like. Now, what's happened over there? We condemn that. And this organization, RSS, we call upon the authorities, we call upon the government to really look into this Hindutwas, these guys, these extremists, these terrorists. We should not be shying away from that. Look into these guys and, tell them that if you want to live in this country, you should be living in peace and harmony. Should not be there to promote your agendas. It says, understand this, Hindutva is just spreading all over the world. As I spoke about earlier on in when I started today, that's something that was in America as well. So inshallah, I want to leave you with that. Young brothers, understand, we promote our religion in a way that we beautify our religion the way Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought it to us. We're not those people that go out seeking revenge and taking the law in our hands. We're people that abide by the law, and we're people that uphold the law. We're people that look after the destitute. We're the people who don't go after the places of worship. We're people who don't go after the women. We're people who don't go after the elderly, the women. We are people who look after the community. We benefit the community along with our own communities. So that's what we are. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Now we are the people taken out of the entire humanity, and we enjoin good and we forbid evil, and we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want to leave you with that, brothers. Don't be shaken by what's really happened. These people will promote their agendas no matter what media they use. Truth will always prevail, and the truth will be out. No, and we are the people. We're not, understand, we're not passive. Okay, we're not going to be quiet about this, but there's a way how we raise our voices. There's a way how we seek justice, and the way that you're trying to seek justice, you're only bringing out more problems for the community. So inshallah, I'll leave you guys with that, and I wish to see you again very soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.